You didn't plan to be awake this late. Yet here you are. The apartment is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels almost too heavy, like the silence itself is pressing against your chest. Outside, the rain has started again. Not loud, just persistent. A soft tapping against the window that fills the space where other sound should be. You've tried everything tonight. The usual things. Scrolling through your phone until the blue light made your eyes ache. Lying in bed with your eyes closed, counting breaths, counting sheep, counting nothing at all. But sleep wouldn't come. So you got up, and now you're standing by the window, looking out at the city that never quite sleeps, but pretends to, at least for a few hours. Most of the windows across the street are dark, lives tucked away behind curtains and blinds. People dreaming or trying to. But there's one light, directly across from you, maybe 40 feet away, on the same floor. A warm glow coming from behind half-drawn blinds. You've noticed it before, other nights like this. Noticed it and wondered, who else is awake right now? What keeps them up when the rest of the world has surrendered to sleep? You've lived here for, 8 months now? Almost 9. And you've seen that light more times than you can count. Always late. Always warm. Sometimes you'd see a shadow move past the window. Just a glimpse. Nothing clear enough to make out who or what. But tonight something feels different. Maybe it's the rain. Maybe it's the particular quality of the darkness. That deep, velvety darkness that only exists between 3 and 4 in the morning. Maybe it's just that you're tired of being the only person awake in the entire world. The rain picks up slightly. You watch the droplets race down the glass, merging and separating, creating temporary rivers that exist for seconds before disappearing. There's something meditative about it, something that makes you feel both more present and more distant at the same time. Your apartment is small, but it's yours. The rent is too high, and the neighbors upstairs walk like they're trying to break through the floor, but it's yours. Your books line the shelves you assembled yourself. Your coffee mug sits in the sink from this morning or yesterday morning, technically. Time feels strange at this hour. You're not sure what makes you do it, but you find yourself looking at the radio on your shelf. It's old. One of those CB radios you picked up at a thrift store months ago because it reminded you of something, a simpler time, maybe when connection required intention. When you had to reach out deliberately, not just scroll past someone's curated life. The radio is dusty. You haven't touched it in weeks. It sits between a stack of books about astronomy and a small succulent that's somehow still alive despite your inconsistent watering schedule. You've never actually used it, but you charged it a few weeks ago just out of curiosity. Turn it on once or twice, heard nothing but static and the occasional trucker passing through on a distant highway, their voice breaking through the white noise to share their location or complain about traffic or just exist for a moment in the electromagnetic spectrum. Now you pick it up. The weight of it feels solid in your hand. Real. The plastic is cool against your palm. There's a crack along one side that you trace with your thumb. Someone else owned this before you. Someone else held it just like this. Someone else reached out into the void and hoped for an answer. You turn it on and the static fills the room. A soft, white noise hiss that somehow makes the rain sound even gentler by comparison. The LED display glows green in the darkness. Channel 9, the emergency channel. You flip past it. You flip through channels. Nothing. Just static and more static. The hiss of empty frequencies. The sound of no one listening. No one talking. Everyone asleep or pretending to be. Nothing. Then on Channel 19, something. Not a voice. Not yet. But the static changes. Becomes occupied somehow. Like someone else is listening on the other end. Like the frequency is holding its breath. You glance out the window at that light across the way, and maybe you're imagining it, but you think you see a shadow move. Someone standing near their window, just like you. A figure backlit by that warm glow. There for a moment, then gone. Your thumb hovers over the talk button. This is ridiculous, you think. What are you even going to say? Hi, I've been watching your window like a creep. Hello, I'm lonely and desperate enough to talk to strangers on ancient technology, but your thumb presses down anyway. Hello. Your voice sounds strange through the radio. Distant. Filtered. Like you're calling from somewhere far away, even though you're right here. The radio crackles slightly as you release the button, and then there's just static again. Silence. You wait. Maybe they're not there. Maybe you imagine the change in the static. Maybe you're losing your mind at 3 in the morning and talking to electrical interference. You're about to turn the radio off when, hello. The voice that comes back is soft, cautious, also filtered through that old radio quality, that slight crackle and hum that makes it feel like you're both transmitting from another time, from a past, from some parallel dimension where people still talk like this. You can't tell much from just one word, but the voice is gentle, curious, a little uncertain, but not unfriendly. Your heart starts beating faster. I know this is strange, you say, and you can feel yourself smiling even though no one can see you. But I saw your light on, across the street, and I guess I wanted to know if someone else was awake. Silence. You wait, watching that window. Your heart is beating a little faster than it should be. This is absurd. They probably think you're some kind of stalker. They're probably already turning off their radio. You're the apartment with the blue curtains, the voice says. Not a question, a statement. You look at your own window, at the curtains you bought because they reminded you of the ocean, of somewhere vast and open, somewhere you could disappear into. Yeah, you say, that's me. I've seen your light too, they say. On nights like this, when I can't sleep, I look out and wonder who you are, what you're doing awake at this hour. If you're okay, something in your chest loosens. You're not sure what you expected. Maybe for them to tell you this was weird and to leave them alone. Maybe to laugh. Maybe to not respond at all. Maybe to call the police. But this feels like finding something you didn't know you were looking for. I'm standing by my window right now, you say, watching the rain. Me too. You both fall quiet for a moment. The static hums between you like a living thing. Through it, you can still hear the rain, both outside your window and faintly through their radio. The same rain falling on both of you, connecting you in this small, impossible way. Do you do this often? They ask. The radio thing. You laugh softly. No, never actually. I bought it months ago, and this is the first time I've really used it. I don't know what made me think of it tonight. I saw your light, and I just wanted to reach out, I guess. I'm glad you did. 3 words. Simple, but they settle into you like warmth. Like the first sip of coffee on a cold morning. Like coming home after a long day. I almost didn't, you admit. It seemed too strange, too random. Like something out of a movie, not real life. Like something that would only work in fiction. Maybe real life needs to be more like the movie sometimes, they say. Maybe we all just need to reach out more, even in strange ways. Especially in strange ways. You find yourself nodding even though they can't see you. The rain continues. Steady, patient. It's been raining for hours now. The weather forecast said it would stop by midnight, but the weather forecast is often wrong. You're glad it's wrong tonight. The rain feels right. It feels like it's creating a bubble around this moment, protecting it from the rest of the world. What keeps you up? They ask, and there's something careful in how they phrase it. Like they don't want to pry, but can't help being curious. Like they're testing the boundaries of what you can talk about. You think about how to answer that. The truth is complicated. The truth is a tangle of thoughts and feelings that don't have names. The truth is that some nights, sleep feels like surrender, and you're not ready to give up consciousness yet. Not ready to let go of the day or face what tomorrow might bring. The truth is that you're afraid of your dreams, or afraid of not dreaming, or afraid of the emptiness that exists in those dark hours when you're not quite here and not quite gone. I don't know. You say finally. Just can't turn my brain off sometimes. It keeps spinning, thinking about everything and nothing. What about you? The same, they say. Some nights are just like that, aren't they? Where sleep feels impossible, where the world feels too quiet and too loud at the same time. Yes, you breathe out. Exactly that. You try to explain this feeling to people before, to friends who ask why you look tired, to co-workers who notice you yawning through meetings. But you've never found the words. And here's this stranger, this voice through static, understanding perfectly. How long have you been up? They ask. Since, I don't know. I went to bed around 11, but I never fell asleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling. I slept for maybe an hour. Had a dream that woke me up and then couldn't get back to sleep. Was a bad dream. They pause. Not bad exactly. Just unsettling. One of those dreams where nothing scary happens, but you wake up with this feeling of wrongness. Like something shifted while you weren't paying attention. You know those dreams. The ones where the logic is just slightly off. Where people you know act like strangers. Where familiar places have wrong doors or missing rooms. I hate those, you say. Yeah. The heater in your apartment kicks on. You'd forgotten about it, but now you can hear it humming to life. A low, steady vibration that travels through the walls, through the floor, through your bones. Can I ask you something? You say. Of course. Why did you answer? When I called out on the radio, you could have ignored it. Could have turned yours off. Could have thought I was crazy. They're quiet for a moment. You can hear them breathing on the other end. Or maybe that's just a static shape like breathing. It's hard to tell where they end and the frequency begins. I guess. They start, then pause. I guess I was hoping someone would. Reach out, I've been standing at this window for the past hour, looking at all the dark apartments around me, feeling like the last person on earth. And then I saw your light was still on too. And I thought, maybe I'm not alone in this. Whatever this is. Insomnia, you offer. Insomnia, they agree. Or restlessness. Or just not being ready for the day to be over even though it already is. Not being ready to face tomorrow. Not being ready to be unconscious and vulnerable. You understand that more than you can say. Tell me something, they say. What do you do during the day? When you're not awake at 3 in the morning, talking to strangers on a radio. You smile. I work in a bookstore. Small place. Lots of old paperbacks and the smell of coffee from the cafe next door. It's not glamorous, but it's peaceful. That sounds nice. It is. Quiet most days. I like the quiet, but not at night. At night, the quiet feels different. You say slowly, trying to put it into words. During the day, it's peaceful, like a blank canvas. At night, it's expectant, like it's waiting for something, like it's holding space for all the thoughts you manage to avoid during the day. I know that feeling. What about you? You ask. What do you do? I'm a night nurse, they say. Or I was. I'm between jobs right now. Just moved to the city a few months ago. Still finding my footing. Is that why you're awake? Old schedule. Partly. And partly because new places always feel a little bit like foreign countries at first. Don't they? Even when everyone speaks the same language. Even when the streets are laid out logically and the apartment has everything you need. They do. You agree. I moved here almost 9 months ago, and Some mornings I still wake up confused about where I am. Still reach for light switches that aren't where they used to be. Where did you come from? You tell them. A smaller city. A place where you knew all the streets by heart and could navigate with your eyes closed. Where leaving felt both necessary and like tearing yourself away from something essential. You talk about the reasons you left. The job that wasn't working. The relationship that ended badly. The feeling that you'd outgrown the boundaries of that life and needed to try something new. They listen. You can tell they're really listening, not just waiting for their turn to talk. The silence between your words doesn't feel empty or awkward. It feels like they're holding space for you, like they're taking in everything you're saying and treating it with care. Do you miss it? They ask when you finish. Sometimes. Mostly I miss the feeling of belonging somewhere, of having a place that felt like mine, of walking down the street and seeing familiar faces, of having history with a place. Maybe that's what we're all looking for. They say softly, that feeling, a place or a person or a moment where we can just exhale, where we don't have to perform or pretend, where we can be exactly who we are. You close your eyes. The rain, the static, their voice, it all blends together into something that feels almost like music, almost like a lullaby. But you're not sleepy yet. You're too awake, too present. Can I tell you something strange? You say. Please. I don't even know your name. Don't know what you look like or anything about you except that you're awake right now and you understand what it feels like to be lonely in a city full of people. But I feel more connected to you than I have to anyone in months. The static fills the space where their response should be. You wonder if you said too much, if you've made this weird when it didn't need to be, if you've ruined this fragile thing by naming it. But then, I feel that too, they say, and their voice is even softer than before. Like we're the only two people in the world right now. Like everyone else is elsewhere, asleep in another dimension. And we're here in this little pocket of time that belongs just to us. Your chest feels tight in a good way, like something is expanding, like something is finally breathing after being held too long. What's your name? You ask. They hesitate. Do we need names? The question surprises you. No, you say slowly. I guess we don't. Then let's not use them yet. They say, let's just be this for a while. Two people on a radio at 3 a.m. No context, no history, no expectations. Just now. You think about that. There's something appealing about it. Something freeing. Without names, you can be anyone. Without context, you can say anything. Without history, there's no weight of past mistakes. You nod against the window. Okay, you whisper. Okay. Minutes pass. Neither of you speaks, but neither of you lets go of the talk button. The static continues, punctuated by the sound of rain and breathing and existence. It should feel awkward, but it doesn't. It feels natural, like you've been doing this for years. Are you still there? They ask finally. I'm here. Good. Are you? You pause. Try to find the right words. Are you okay? I mean, beyond the not sleeping. Are you doing okay? They take a long time to answer. You listen to the static, to the rain, to the distant sound of a car passing on the street below. Its tires hiss on the wet pavement. Then it's gone, and there's just silence again. That's a big question. They say eventually. You don't have to answer it. No, I want to. It's just that most people don't ask. Or they ask, but they don't really want to know. They want you to say, I'm fine, so everyone can move on. So they don't have to carry the weight of your answer. I want to know, you say. Really? Another pause. You wait. Then, I'm managing. Some days are better than others. Moving here was supposed to be a fresh start, you know? A chance to leave behind everything that wasn't working. But you can't really leave yourself behind, can you? You take your problems with you, wherever you go. Yeah, you say quietly. You do. What about you? Are you okay? No one's asked you that in a while either. Not really asked. Not in a way that expected an honest answer. I'm lonely. You hear yourself say. That's the main thing. I have coworkers and I have people I can text if I need something, but I don't have connection. Not the real kind. Not the kind where someone knows you and you know them, and there's this understanding that doesn't need words. That's the hardest kind of lonely, they say. The kind where you're surrounded by people, but still feel like you're on an island. Like you're speaking a language no one else understands. Exactly. The heater clicks off. In the new silence, the rain sounds louder. You can hear each drop more distinctly now. Each one choosing where to fall. Each one making its small contribution to the storm. Thank you, they say suddenly. For what? For calling out. For taking the chance that someone might answer. For being brave enough to be vulnerable. I was having a really hard night, and then I heard your voice on the radio, and suddenly, it felt less hard. It felt possible. Your throat tightens. I'm glad I did too. You manage. I'm glad you answered. Tell me something else, they say. Tell me about your favorite place. Somewhere you've been, or somewhere you want to go. Somewhere that feels safe. You think about it. Images flash through your mind. Different places. Different times. Places that held you when you needed holding. There's a beach, you say slowly. About 2 hours from where I grew up. My family used to go there every summer. It wasn't fancy or anything. Just sand and water and this old pier that extended out into the ocean. But at night, after all the tourists left, you could walk out on that pier and it felt like you were walking into the sky. The water was so dark you couldn't tell where it ended and the night began. And the stars, you could see everything. The whole universe spread out above you. That sounds beautiful. It was, as I guess. It's still there. Still waiting. Do you go back? Not in years. Maybe I'm afraid it won't feel the same. That it won't be the sanctuary it was in my memory. That I've changed too much and it won't recognize me. Or maybe, they say gently, you're afraid it will feel the same. And you'll realize that the place hasn't changed. Only you have. And you'll have to face how much time has passed. How much you've lost. You let that sink in. They're right, you think. That's exactly what you're afraid of. What about you? You asked, deflecting. What's your safe place? Honestly, right now it's this. Talking to you. Knowing someone else is awake and listening and understanding. That feels safer than anywhere physical I could be. Your eyes start to sting. You blink hard against the window. The glass is cool against your forehead. You can feel the cold radiating through it. Outside, the rain continues its patient work. Me too, you whisper. Plenty of regrets, you say honestly, but not about leaving. About not leaving sooner, maybe. About all the time I wasted being miserable because I thought that's what adults were supposed to do. We're all just making it up as we go, they say, pretending we know what we're doing, hoping no one notices that we're terrified. Yeah. The rain shifts. Gets a little harder for a moment. You watch it stream down the window in thick rivulets. Then it eases again, gentle, persistent. Tell me about your apartment, you say. What does it look like? Small, they say. 1 bedroom. Hardwood floors that creak when you walk on them. The walls are this color that's supposed to be white, but it's more like sad beige. I haven't decorated much yet. Just a couch and a bed and some boxes I still haven't unpacked. There's a crack in the ceiling above my bed that looks like a river. I stare at it most nights when I can't sleep. What does the river lead to? I don't know yet. Somewhere, I hope. Somewhere better than here. It will. You say with certainty you don't quite understand. Rivers always lead somewhere, even if they take the long way, even if they have to cut through rock to get there. That's poetic. I work in a bookstore. It's an occupational hazard. They laugh. It's the first time you've heard them laugh, and it's nice. Warm. Real. It crackles through the static like sunshine through clouds. What about your place? They ask. Also small. Also minimal. I have too many books though. They're everywhere. Stacked on the floor, on the kitchen counter, in the bathroom. I keep thinking I should organize them, but I kind of like the chaos. Like each stack is a conversation I haven't finished yet. What are you reading right now? A collection of essays about loneliness. You say, how we're all desperately seeking connection, but we're all too scared to be vulnerable enough to actually find it. How technology has made it easier to be in touch, but harder to truly connect. Heavy reading for someone who can't sleep. Maybe that's why I can't sleep. They laugh again. You're starting to enjoy that sound. Starting to want to hear it more. What about you? You ask. What do you read? Lately? Nothing. I used to read constantly, but since I moved here, I just haven't. It's like my brain is too busy processing everything to settle down with a book. Too full of static to hear the words. I get that. Maybe I should start again. Maybe that would help with the insomnia. Or maybe you say, the insomnia is here to teach you something. Maybe you're supposed to be awake right now. Maybe that's why we found each other. Maybe, they say softly. The static hums between you like a heartbeat. I'm glad we did, they add. Find each other. Me too. You close your eyes for a moment, just listening to the rain, to the static, to their breathing on the other end. It creates a rhythm, a pattern, something steady in the chaos. Can I tell you something I've been thinking about? They say, please. I keep wondering if this is real. Like, are you really there? Or am I so tired that I'm hallucinating? That I'm talking to myself, and the radio is just reflecting my own voice back at me? I'm real, you promise. I'm really here. How do I know? How do any of us know anything? You counter. How do I know you're real? How do you know I'm not a dream you're having? I guess we just have to trust, they say. Yeah, we just have to trust. Another pause. I do, they say quietly. Trust you, I mean. Which is strange because I don't even know you. But I do. I trust you too. And it's true. Somehow, impossibly, you do trust them. This stranger. This voice through static. This person whose name you don't know and whose face you've never seen. Maybe it's easier to trust someone when you have nothing to lose. When there's no history to complicate things. When it's just this moment and nothing else. What time is it for you? They ask. You check. Almost 4. Same here. The deep hour. Is that what you call it? It's what I've always called it. That hour when you're too tired to keep your defenses up. When everything feels a little bit more true and a little bit more tender. When the barriers between people thin out. I like that, you say. The deep hour. We're in it now. Yeah. You pull your knees up to your chest. Wrap one arm around them while holding the radio with the other. You rest your chin on your knees and stare out at that window across the street. The light is still on. Still warm. Still waiting. Tell me more about nursing. You say, what was the best part? Before it got hard. They take a breath. You can hear them settling into the question, like they're reaching back to remember who they were before the burnout. The quiet moments, they say finally. People think nursing is all emergencies and drama, but mostly it's quiet. It's sitting with someone at 2 in the morning when they can't sleep, holding their hand while they're scared, bringing them water, adjusting their pillow, small things that matter more than any medication. That sounds lonely too. You observe, being awake while everyone else sleeps, watching over people who don't even know you're there. It was lonely, they agree, but it was also meaningful, like I was holding vigil, keeping watch, making sure people were safe through the dark hours. Like you're doing now, you say softly, what? Keeping watch. You're awake. You're here. You answered when I called out. That's a kind of vigil too. They're quiet for a long moment. I never thought of it that way. They say finally. Maybe that's what we're all doing. You say, the people who can't sleep. We're keeping vigil for each other. Making sure no one has to be alone in the dark. I like that. Me too. The rain is starting to ease up now. Not stopping but softening. Like it's getting tired. Like it said everything it needed to say. What's your biggest fear? They asked suddenly. The question catches you off guard. Why do you want to know? Because people don't talk about their real fears. They talk about spiders or heights or public speaking. But those aren't real fears. Real fears are deeper, harder to name. You think about it. What are you actually afraid of? I'm afraid of invisibility. You say slowly. Not literal invisibility, but emotional invisibility. Of going through life without ever being truly seen by another person. Of dying and realizing no one ever really knew me. That's a heavy fear. Yeah. You want to know what I think? Tell me. I think you're already visible. Right now. To me. I see you. Your throat closes up. I don't even know what I look like. They continue. But I see you. I see someone who's brave enough to reach out. Someone who's honest about their loneliness. Someone who asks real questions and wants real answers. That's not invisible. That's the opposite of invisible. You have to put the radio down for a moment. You have to press your palms against your eyes to keep from crying. When you pick it back up, your voice is thick. Thank you, you manage. It's true. What about you? You ask when you can speak again. What's your biggest fear? They don't hesitate. That I'm broken, they say. That the burnout wasn't circumstantial, but fundamental. That there's something wrong with me that can't be fixed. That I'll never be able to connect with people the way I'm supposed to. You're not broken. How do you know? Because broken things don't worry about being broken. Because you're here. Because you answered. Because you're capable of this connection. Right now. With me. Maybe this doesn't count. Why wouldn't it count? Because it's easy over a radio. We don't have to see each other. Don't have to perform. Don't have to be anything except voices. Maybe that's what makes it real. You counter. Maybe when you strip everything else away, the appearance, the performance, the context, maybe that's when you finally get to the truth of a person. They're quiet. I want to believe that. They say finally. Then believe it. It's not that simple. Maybe it is. You both fall silent. The heater kicks on again. You welcome the sound, the warmth, the reminder that systems continue, that things keep working even when you're too tired to notice. I'm glad you called out tonight, they say after a while. So am I. I don't know what I would have done otherwise. Probably just stared at the ceiling until dawn, counted the cracks, traced the river to nowhere. Now you can trace it with company. Yeah, now I can. You smile in the darkness. Outside, the rain has almost stopped. Just a few drops now. Sporadic. Half-hearted. Like it's not sure if it's ready to give up yet. The rain stopping. You observe. I noticed. Does that make you sad? A little. It felt protective. Like it was keeping the rest of the world away. Giving us permission to hide in here. We don't need permission, you say. Don't we? No. We can hide whenever we want. For as long as we want. Is that what we're doing? Hiding. You think about it. Maybe. Or maybe we're not hiding from something. Maybe we're hiding with someone. There's a difference. What's the difference? Hiding from is about fear. Hiding with is about choice. About deciding who gets to see you in the vulnerable hours. I like that distinction, they say. I've just made it up. It's still good. You shift position again. Your back is starting to hurt from sitting on the floor, but you don't want to move too far from the window. Don't want to lose sight of that light across the street. Are you comfortable? They ask, as if reading your mind. Comfortable enough. I'm on my couch, wrapped in a blanket that's too small, but I love it anyway. It was a gift from someone important. Who? My grandmother. She. Continue. 7:57 p.m. Died last year. This was one of the last things she made. I'm sorry. Thank you. She was good. You know, Just a genuinely good person who made the world softer for everyone around her. Who saw the best in people even when they couldn't see it in themselves. She sounds lovely. She would have liked this, I think. This conversation. She always said the best connections happen in unexpected ways. When you're not looking for them. When you're just being yourself. She was right. Yeah. You can hear something in their voice. A thickness. Oh wait. The grief is still fresh. Still raw. Tell me about her. You say gently. Are you sure? It's heavy. I want to hear. If you want to share. They take a shaky breath. She raised me. They say, after my parents, after they couldn't anymore. She was already in her 60s, but she took me in without hesitation. Learned how to braid hair and help with homework and all the things she thought she was done with. How old were you? 8. Old enough to remember everything. Old enough to understand that my life was changing. Young enough to still need someone. And she was there. She was there. Every day. Every night. Every moment I needed her. She worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat, but she never missed a school play. Never forgot a birthday. Never made me feel like I was a burden. You weren't a burden. I know. But some days I felt like one anyway. Some days I felt like I'd ruined her life. Like she could have retired and traveled and done all the things she wanted, but instead she got me. I bet she didn't see it that way. She didn't. She told me once that I was the best thing that ever happened to her. That I gave her life purpose. That loving me was easy. Your eyes are definitely wet now. She sounds like she was an amazing person. She was. And now she's gone and I'm here in this new city, trying to figure out who I am without her. Trying to make choices she'd be proud of. Trying to be the person she believed I could be. I think you're doing it. You say. You don't know me. I know you answered when a stranger called out. I know you're kind. I know you're honest. I know you care about people. That's enough to know you're doing it. They don't respond right away. When they do, their voice is barely a whisper through the static. Thank you. For what? For listening. For caring. For making me feel less alone with this. You're not alone. You promise. Not tonight. Not right now. Neither are you. The words settle into the space between you. Neither of you is alone. Not anymore. Not as long as you're both holding on to this frequency. What was her name? You ask. Your grandmother. If you want to share it. They pause. Then Rose. That's beautiful. She was beautiful. Inside and out. Everyone who met her loved her. She had this way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the room. I wish I could have met her. Me too. She would have liked you. How do you know? Because she liked people who were real. Who didn't pretend. Who were willing to be vulnerable. And you're all of those things. You don't know what to say to that. So you just say, thank you. It's true. The silence that follows is comfortable. Heavy with emotion, but not uncomfortable. Like you're both processing. Both sitting with the weight of what's been shared. Outside, the last of the rain stops. The world is wet and quiet and still. Time continues its strange dance. You're not sure how long you've been talking now. Could be an hour. Could be 3. The clock says 4:23, but that doesn't feel real. Nothing feels real except this. The radio. The voice. The connection. You've moved again. Now you're lying on your back on the floor. The radio resting on your stomach. You can feel it rise and fall with your breathing. Can feel the slight vibration every time they speak. The ceiling above you has its own patterns. Cracks and shadows and textures you never noticed during the day. At night, in this light, they become a landscape, a map of somewhere you've never been. What are you thinking about? They ask. The ceiling, you say. How it looks different at night. How everything looks different at night. Everything feels different too. Yeah, more real somehow. Like the daytime world is the dream, and this is what's actually true. You consider that. Maybe it is, you say. Maybe we spend all day pretending and all night remembering who we actually are. That's a sad thought. Is it? Or is it hopeful? At least we get the nights. At least we get these hours to be honest. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Most things do. They make a sound that might be agreement. Tell me something you've never told anyone. They say, that's a big ask. I know, but we're in the deep hour. Remember? Everything's allowed. No judgment. No consequences. Just truth. You take a breath. The ceiling swims above you. Or maybe you're swimming beneath it. It's hard to tell. I'm terrified. You say quietly that I'm not capable of the kind of love everyone talks about. The big, consuming, change your whole life kind. I'm terrified that I'm too careful, too guarded, too damaged maybe, that I'll spend my whole life wanting connection, but being unable to actually achieve it. That I'll push away anyone who gets too close because I don't know how to let them in. The silence that follows is long, but not uncomfortable. You're not damaged. They say finally. You're just human. We're all scared of the same things, you know. We're all worried we're not enough, or too much, or too broken, or too whole. But the fact that you can admit it, that's brave. That's beautiful. I don't feel brave. Like I said earlier, courage never does. It feels like fear you do things anyway through. You smile in the darkness. Thank you. You whisper. For what? For saying that. For being here. For not making me feel weird for being honest. You're not weird. You're real. That's rare. So are you. The radio vibrates gently against your stomach. You can feel their presence through it. Like they're right here with you, instead of 40 feet away across a rain-soaked street. Your turn. You say, tell me something you've never told anyone. They take even longer to answer than you did. You wait. You can hear them breathing. You can hear them gathering courage. You can hear the moment they decide to trust you. I almost didn't move here. They say eventually. I had the job lined up, had the apartment, had everything ready. And the day I was supposed to leave, I sat in my car for 2 hours, unable to turn the key, because moving felt like admitting that my old life wasn't working, that I couldn't make it work, and that felt like failure. But you moved anyway. I moved anyway. And some days I still don't know if it was the right choice. Some days I think about going back, about admitting defeat and returning to what was familiar, even if it was killing me. But you haven't. But I haven't. I keep showing up, keep trying, keep hoping it will get easier. Does it? Some days. Some days it feels a little bit more like home. Some days I walk down the street and I don't feel quite so lost. And then there are days like today where it all feels impossible and I wonder why I'm even trying. I'm glad you're trying, you say. Why? Because if you hadn't, we wouldn't be talking right now. If you'd stayed where you were, I'd be alone in my apartment with no one to talk to. So I'm glad you tried. I'm glad you moved. I'm glad you're here. Their breath catches. I'm glad too, they say softly. Right now, in this moment, I'm glad. You both fall quiet. The heater hums. The silence settles. Time continues its slow, strange movement. What do you think happens after this? They ask after a while. After this conversation? Yeah. Do we go back to being strangers? Do we wave at each other across the street, but never speak again? Do we pretend this never happened? You've been wondering the same thing. I don't know, you admit. What do you want to happen? I don't know either. Part of me wants to meet you, to see your face, to know your name, to make this real in a different way. And the other part is scared that meeting will ruin this, that the magic only works through static, that we're both more honest when we're just voices. Maybe, you say slowly, we don't have to decide right now. Maybe we can just see what happens. Maybe we can keep this frequency open and see if we both come back to it. No pressure, just possibility. I like that, they say. Me too. Your eyes are getting heavy now. Not in a bad way, just in that warm, soft way when sleep is starting to pull at the edges of your consciousness but hasn't claimed you yet. Are you getting tired? They ask. A little. Are you? A little. We don't have to stop talking. No, they agree. We don't. But the pauses between your words are getting longer, more comfortable. The silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels full of presence and understanding and something that might be the beginning of trust. Tell me about your apartment, you say drowsily. I know you did before, but tell me more. What does it smell like? Coffee, they say. Always coffee. There's a cafe downstairs, and the smell drifts up through the vents. Sometimes I wake up and I think I'm at work, but then I remember I'm not, and it's just the cafe, and I can stay in bed as long as I want. That sounds nice. It is. What about your place? Old books, you say. Paper and dust and time. I love it. It smells like the bookstore, but quieter. More personal. I can imagine it. Can you? Yeah, I can see you there, surrounded by books, standing at your window, looking out at the rain. I can see you too, you say, on your couch with your grandmother's blanket, looking out your window at mine. We're mirrors, they observe. Yeah, we are. The thought makes you smile. Two people in two apartments doing the exact same thing, seeking the exact same connection, finding each other across the distance. What's your favorite book? They ask. You have to think about it. There's so many stories that have held you at different times in your life. I don't know if I have one favorite, you say finally, but there's one I keep coming back to. It's about a lighthouse keeper who lives alone on an island. And every night he lights the lighthouse to guide ships safely to shore. And he never meets any of the people he helps. He just does his job and trusts that it matters. That's beautiful. I think about him sometimes. When I feel useless or invisible, I think about how he never knows if he's making a difference, but he keeps showing up anyway, keeps lighting the light. Maybe that's all any of us can do, they say. Keep lighting our lights. Keep showing up. Trust that someone somewhere sees it and it helps. Yeah, you're lighting a light right now, they add. For me, you might not think it matters, but it does. It really does. Your throat gets tight again. So are you. You manage. The radio crackles softly between you, like it's adding its own agreement, like it's saying, yes, this matters. This is real. This is worth it. I wish I could give you something, they say suddenly. What do you mean? Something to remember this by. Something tangible. But all I have are words through static. Words are enough, you say. Words are everything. Are they? Yeah, they're how we build worlds. How we connect. How we know we're not alone. They're the only real magic we have. You're a poet, they say. No, I just work in a bookstore. Same thing. You laugh softly. Outside, the world is starting to change. Not obviously, not dramatically, but the darkness is thinning at the edges. Still black, but less absolute. Like the night is beginning to remember that it's not forever. Do you see it? They ask. The light? Not yet, but it's coming. Dawn always comes. Does that make you sad? Yes and no. Sad because this has to end, but also relieved maybe. Grateful that we get to see another day, that we made it through the night. We made it together, you say. Yeah, we did. You can hear the smile in their voice. What will you do tomorrow? You ask. Today, I mean, when you wake up for real. I don't know. I don't have work. Don't have plans. Probably just wander around. Try to make this city feel more like home. You should go to the bookstore, you say. It's on 5th Street, near the park. There's an orange cat that sleeps in the window. You can't miss it. Will you be there? Maybe. I work most days. What if I come in? Then you come in. Will we pretend we don't know each other? The question hangs in the air. I don't know. You say honestly. What do you want to do? I don't know either. Then we'll figure it out. You say, if it happens. If you come in, we'll figure it out in the moment. Okay. No pressure. No pressure. But you both know there's pressure. There's weight. There's the question of whether this fragile thing can survive daylight. I'm scared, they admit. Of what? That you won't like me in person. That I won't live up to whatever image you have of me. That I'll be disappointing. You won't be. You say with certainty. How do you know? Because I like who you are right now. And that's the real you. The person who shows up at 3 in the morning. Who's honest about being scared. Who listens without judgment. That's who you are, and that's who I like. But what if I'm different during the day? Then you're different. We're all different in different contexts. But the person I'm talking to right now, that person is real. And that's enough. They don't respond for a long moment. Okay. They finally whisper. Okay. Your eyes are really heavy now. You keep having to force them open. Keep having to fight against the weight of sleep. You should rest. They say gently. I'm okay. You sound tired. I am tired. But I don't want this to end. It doesn't have to end. Not really. It just has to pause. Promise. I promise. But promises are easy to make at 4 in the morning. Harder to keep when the sun comes up and reality reasserts itself. What if you change your mind? You say. What if tomorrow this all seems silly and you decide forget about it? I won't. But what if you do? Then I'm an idiot, they say simply, and I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. But I won't. I don't think I could forget this even if I wanted to. Me neither. The heater clicks off again. In the new silence, you can hear birds starting to wake up. Just a few. Just the early risers. But they're there, singing into the darkness, calling the day into being. The birds are awake. You observe. I hear them. Do you think they're lonely too? Singing out into the dark. Maybe. Or maybe they're just announcing they're here. Staking their claim on the day. Saying, I exist, I'm alive, I matter. I like that. Me too. You shift on the floor. Your whole body is stiff now. You've been lying here too long. But you don't want to move. Don't want to break the spell. Tell me something good, you say. Something hopeful. Something to carry into tomorrow. They think about it. I think, they say slowly, that we're all doing the best we can. I think we're all stumbling through this life, trying to figure it out as we go. And I think that's okay. I think it's enough to just keep trying. Keep showing up. Keep reaching out even when it's scary. Is that what you believe? It's what I want to believe. Some days I do. Some days I don't. But tonight, talking to you, tonight I believe it. Good. You say softly. Hold on to that. I will. What about you? What's your something good? You close your eyes. What is your something good? I think, you say finally, that connection is possible. Even when it seems impossible. Even when you're lonely and lost and convinced no one will understand. I think there's always someone out there who gets it. Who feels the same way. You just have to be brave enough to reach out. Like you did tonight. Like I did tonight. I'm glad you were brave. Me too. The birds are getting louder now. More of them joining the chorus. The darkness is definitely thinning. You can see the outline of buildings across the street more clearly now. You can see the edges of things. I should probably try to sleep, they say reluctantly. Yeah, me too. But neither of you moves to end the call. I don't know how to say goodbye, they admit. Then don't. Say, see you later. Or talk to you soon. Or just nothing. Just let the frequency stay open. Will you keep your radio on? Yeah. Will you? Yeah. Then we're still connected. Even if we're not talking. Even if we're sleeping. We're still on the same frequency. I love that. They whisper. Me too. Your eyes close again. This time you don't force them open. Thank you. You murmur. For tonight. For everything. Thank you. They echo. For calling out. For finding me. I'll see you. You say. You'll see me. At the bookstore maybe. Maybe. Or here. On the frequency. Or here. The static hums between you. Soft, steady, like breathing, like a heartbeat. Good night, you whisper. Good night. But neither of you turns off your radio. You both just stay there, connected, present, together, even in the silence. Your breathing slows. Sleep starts to pull you under. But even as you drift, you can still feel them there. You can still sense their presence through the static. You can still hear the faint sound of their breathing matching yours. You're not alone. Not anymore. And maybe that's all that matters. Maybe that's everything. Act 4. The slow fade. The world is changing outside your window. You're not fully asleep. Not fully awake either. You're floating in that space between. That liminal place where dreams and reality blur together. The radio is still on your chest. Still connected. You can feel the warmth of it. The gentle static that's become like white noise. Like rain. Like comfort. You hear them shift on the other end. Hear the soft rustle of their grandmother's blanket. Are you still there? They whisper, so quiet you almost miss it. I'm here. You mumble back. Good. Are you sleeping? Almost. You. Almost. The birds are louder now. A full chorus. Greeting the dawn that's coming whether you're ready for it or not. I can see the sky changing. They say dreamily. It's not quite light yet, but it's not quite dark either. It's that in-between color, like the world is holding its breath. I see it too. Do you think the day will be good? I don't know, but I think we made it through the night. That's something. Yeah, that's something. You can hear the smile in their voice, even through your exhaustion. What will you dream about? They ask. I don't know. Maybe this. Maybe you. What about you? The same probably. This conversation. This connection. This frequency. Good. Is it strange that I already miss you? They say. Even though you're right here. No. I miss you too. Miss this version of us. The 3 in the morning version. We can come back to it. Promise. I promise. Whenever we can't sleep, whenever we need to, we can always come back to this frequency. Channel 19. Channel 19. You smile against the floor. Your body is heavy now. So heavy. Like gravity has increased. Like you're being pulled down into sleep by invisible hands. I'm fading, you admit. Me too. Don't leave though. Stay on the line. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here when you wake up. You promise. I promise. You want to believe them. Want to trust that when you open your eyes, they'll still be there. That this isn't just a dream you're having. That it's real. It's real, they say, as if reading your mind. I'm real. This is real. Don't forget that when you wake up. Okay. Promise me. I promise. The static wraps around you like a blanket. Like their grandmother's blanket. Small but warm. Imperfect but loved. Tell me one more thing. You murmur. What? Your favorite thing. About anything. About the world. They think about it. You can hear them breathing. Can feel them searching for the right words. Rain. They say finally. My favorite thing is rain. How it washes everything clean. How it makes the world slow down. How it gives us permission to stay inside. To be quiet. To rest. That's beautiful. What about you? What's your favorite thing? You don't have to think about it. This you say. Right now. This connection. This conversation. You. You can hear their breath catch. Me too. They whisper. This is my favorite thing too. The light is coming now. Really coming. You can see it creeping across the ceiling. Turning the shadows from black to gray to something softer. Dawn. You observe. We made it. We made it. Together. Yeah, together. Your eyes close. This time they stay closed. You're drifting now. Really drifting. Down into sleep. Down into dreams. Down into the soft, dark place where consciousness fades and rest begins. But even as you drift, you can still hear them. Still feel them. Still know they're there. Sweet dreams. They whisper, so soft it's almost not there. and for the first time in months, you think maybe you'll have them. The static continues, soft and steady, like a heartbeat, like breathing, like the sound of someone staying, just staying, right there, with you, until morning comes. Or doesn't. It doesn't matter anymore. Because right now, in this moment, you're not alone. And that's enough. More than enough. It's everything. The world continues to turn. The night continues to fade. The light continues to grow. But the frequency stays open. The connection stays strong. And somewhere across the street, in a window that mirrors your own, someone is keeping watch. Someone is making sure you're safe. Someone is staying, just like they promised, just like they will, for as long as you need. The radio hums on. Your breathing slows. Your body relaxes. And sleep finally comes. Not alone. Never alone. Not anymore. Because you found each other. Two souls awake in the dark. Two lights in separate windows. Two voices on the same frequency. Connected. Present. Real. And that connection, however fragile, however impossible, however brief, that connection is enough to carry you through to tomorrow and whatever comes after. The static whispers on. The birds sing their morning song. The sun rises slow and warm, and you sleep, finally, deeply, peacefully, knowing that somewhere, someone heard you, someone answered, someone stayed, and maybe, just maybe, they'll be there when you wake. Maybe at the bookstore, maybe on the frequency, maybe just across the street, looking out their window at yours, wondering the same things you're wondering, hoping the same things you're hoping, believing that connection is possible, even when it seems impossible, especially when it seems impossible, because you proved it tonight. You reached out, they answered, and for a few hours in the deep dark of morning, you were everything to each other. Two strangers, two souls, two people awake when the rest of the world was sleeping, finding each other, saving each other, being there for each other. And that is enough. That is everything. That is the whole story. The radio hums, the static whispers, the connection holds, and you drift down, 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 into sleep, into dreams, into peace, knowing you're not alone, knowing someone else is awake, or was awake, or will be awake again, when you need them, when the night feels too long, when the loneliness feels too heavy. They'll be there, on Channel 19, waiting, listening, ready to answer when you call, just like tonight, just like always, just like forever. The frequency stays open, the promise stays true. And somewhere in the space between sleeping and waking, between your world and theirs, between this moment and the next, you are connected. You are seen. You are known. You are not alone. Not ever. Not anymore. The static fades to almost nothing, but never quite disappears. Because some connections, some frequencies, some moments, they don't end. They just transform. They just wait. They just stay there, humming softly in the background, ready to be picked up again whenever you need them. And you'll need them. We all do. We all need to know we're not alone in the dark. We all need to know someone else is awake. Someone else is listening. Someone else understands. And now you know. You found them. They found you. And that knowledge, that certain, that connection, it will carry you through tomorrow, through the long days, through the lonely nights. Because you know now, you know it's possible. You know someone is out there. And maybe that's all any of us needs. To know, to believe, to trust that we're not alone. That connection exists. That reaching out matters. That someone will answer. Someone always answers. If you're brave enough to call. The static whispers. The rain has stopped. The night has passed. And you sleep, finally, peacefully, knowing, I'm still here, right across the street, watching your light fade, watching you rest, keeping vigil, just like I promised, just like I will, for as long as you need. Even if you're already drifting, even if you're already gone, I'm still here, on the frequency, waiting, ready, listening, for when you wake, for when you need me, for when the night feels too long again. I'll be here, Channel 19, the only other soul awake. Your frequency, your connection, your light in the dark, always.